So, Nick, hello. So, first of all, we have a lot of people on this down our pub here, the Jolly Heretic, that have been cancelled for normally they're academics, but have been cancelled for various reasons. So, before we go into your background and whatever, how did you get cancelled and why?
So, if you can go back to 2020 June. A few weeks before, a career criminal in America had been killed on the streets by the police, or it looked like that at the time. And the phrase Black Lives Matter started ringing out across the UK. And I thought, oh, who are Black Lives Matter? I think I've heard of this group, but I don't know anything about them. So I went on their website and read what they had to say and realised I didn't like any of this. Defund the police, overthrow capitalism. And the number one phrase that really upset me was disrupt the Western nuclear family. And all I could work out what that meant really was we need to get rid of more men, more fathers out of the home. And that's our biggest problem in the UK, is a lack of fathers at home and a lack of fathers involved with their children and in their lives. So I wrote a 600-700 word blog, and I've wrote many blogs before, put it on my platform and put a link on LinkedIn. It was there for a couple of weeks. Some people commented. Most people didn't agree with what I had to say. But I'd had lots of messages online via email saying, Nick, I read your blog. I like it. I agree with it. But I'm not going to comment online about it. And I was always, straight away, I was thinking, that's a bit strange. I don't understand why they wouldn't. But I was a bit naive at the time. Someone saw the link, copied it, put it on Twitter. And it all went mental within 24 hours. So within 24 hours, somebody had set a petition up to have me fired from the charity I founded. I was chief exec at the charity. A volunteer at the charity was called Mancunian Way. Yeah. Mancunian Way. A volunteer at the charity resigned, emailed the board and told the board he couldn't work for a Nazi and a racist. So the board started panicking, plus there was a lot of abuse online directed at the charity. And the charity board panicked. And I'd appointed the board. They were friends of mine. And they panicked. And in a one-line email, they sent, don't forget, this was during COVID. There was no meetings, no face-to-face. We were locked down in our houses. I got a one-line email saying, sacked immediately.
Well, we were locked down in our houses unless we were engaging in Black Lives Matter protests, in which case it was perfectly acceptable to go out and do anything you liked.
Well, this was Black Lives Connected, so we probably could have met, but we didn't know that at the time. So they sacked me over email. The first week, I was a broken man. I was, upset, paranoid. Everyone's laughing at me. And then the second week, I decided I'm not having this.
So this was all. Sorry, two things. So first of all, when you say that they had said that you were a Nazi and a racist, what exactly had you said in your post that was so egregious as to cause the people that you knew to say that you were a Nazi and a racist?
Well, obviously, I'm bound to say nothing, but let me tell you what the article was about. So the first half of the article was just explaining what I discovered on their website. That to me, this organization sounded like some sort of Marxist organization. They wanted to defund the police, overthrow capital. So I talked about what they said on their website. So the first half, you couldn't critique me because it was basically their website. The second half of the article, I basically said, if we want to improve the lives of Black people in the UK, these are the things we should be addressing. We need to be addressing female genital mutilation. We need to be addressing knife crime, and I think the last point I made was, and let's build more houses because all our children need somewhere to live.
Did you mention the issue of fatherlessness?
No.
No, okay.
No.
So
and
really
the accusation against me basically was writing while white. No one picked anything out of my article that they disagreed with. The accusations was, how dare you comment on a black issue in a black group? That was the accusations against me.
Mm-hmm. So the accusation essentially was insensitivity, as they saw it, in a context of what was essentially, if we think back to that time, it was hysteria. Yeah. It was just a period of hysteria, as bad as, worse than when Princess Diana died. The worst hysteria I think I've ever seen. So that was what you've done, basically. You put your foot in it, as far as they were concerned, at a time of hysteria, and therefore you were right for the pig. And when you said that it was this, how did you feel? A lot of people haven't been through this. I've been through this, but a lot of people haven't been. How does it feel? You're in the papers, or at least in the local papers, and people are saying all awful things about you, and you can't really defend yourself. And how did it feel for you go through that?
You realise that you're not as mentally tough as you think you are. If you'd have said to me a few weeks before this that something like this is going to happen, Nick, and this is how you're going to feel, and you're going to collapse for the first week, you're going to lock yourself away, you're going to basically be a coward, I'd have laughed in your face and said, not a chance. Do you know who I am? Do you know what I've done in my life? Do you know how hard I've had to? I never would have believed it. But when it seems like the world turns against you, and we're social creatures, and we're designed, I think, to pick up on negativity from other people, so we can use that to adjust our behavior. And when it seems like the world's turned against you, the first thing you think of, if you're a normal person, is, what have I done wrong? It must be me. So the first week was all self-reflection. What have I done? What did I say? I could have worded it better, and I could have worded the article better. If I'd have known I was getting international attention on the article, I'd have rewrote it several times. But
and I suppose there's a degree to which we could talk about your background later, but you've come from whatever. I mean, to be a kind of a public figure, at least in a local area,
yeah,
MBE, whatever. And did you kind of feel, God, I just want to be a private person again. I just want to be just a chap in the street. Just I wish I could just be a private rather than a public man.
No, I think the overwhelming feeling was embarrassment. All I could think of was everyone's laughing at me. All those people who have always thought he's full of himself. Look what he's done. He left the council and I didn't leave the council. He set a charity up and I've always wanted to set a charity up. I thought people are sat there going, oh, look how the mighty are falling now. I felt embarrassed that everybody was laughing at me. That was the main feeling.
Yeah, awful. And so well, let's go back then, so that we can get a bit of context on